Hey there, it's Dusty with another story for you here. This one is Am I the Astronaut? I, 30 female, took and burned my boyfriend's, 34 male, old Valentine's Day cards without him knowing. A bit of a confession, my boyfriend and I have been dating a year. We're at the point where we're not yet living together, but I spend a lot of time at his house. I first found some of the cards early on, about 6 of them, as they were just in the kitchen junk drawer at the back. Now they were all put in a plastic bag, but I was nosy and looked inside and read them. They were birthday/Valentine's cards from his ex of 2 years. I put them back and said nothing. Then a few months later, he said I could have a drawer for my things. So one day when he was out, I decided to clear out a drawer and found 2 more birthday cards. One from the ex and one from her son, who is not my boyfriend's son, just hers. There was a bit of a resentment in me. As the start of our relationship, he admitted that he was still hung up on his ex in the beginning. I didn't like the thought of him one day rereading those cards from her. I just want her to be gone and in the past. So I took those 2 cards home and burned them. Okay. It wasn't even just a card from his ex. It was a card from a kid. Red flag warning.
Why'd you burn it?
The other 6 cards are still in his kitchen drawer. I've been contemplating taking those too, or pretending to stumble on them while looking for batteries and then just asking to throw them away. I know the mature thing is to leave them. They are his and he has the right to a past, but I would just like it if they were gone and not hanging around. Was this really wrong of me to do? Would it be obvious if I took the other cards and threw them away, or do you think he would notice? Too long don't read. My boyfriend every year has cards from his ex in his house that I want to sneakily throw away. I've already got rid of 2. Is it really wrong of me, or how do I go about this situation? Okay, so yeah, there are some problems here, OP. You know what's weird about this? It's weird that OP is like, I know the mature thing to do would be this, which I don't even think is the right thing. The mature thing, she says, is to just leave them there. I feel like the mature thing would be to communicate your feelings. The mature thing would be to say, hey, I noticed that there are some cards there and it shouldn't bother me, but it does for some reason. And I think part of that might be because in the very beginning of our relationship, you communicated to me that you were still a little bit hung up on your ex. So I see those cards and it's a reminder of those words. And I just want to make sure that there's nothing to worry about. I worry that you're going to reread them and like fall back in love with them, decide to pursue that. I know that's unreasonable. I know this is a me problem, but I want you to understand how I feel. That would have been the mature thing to do, not just pretend like they're not there, not put them back, or not just leave them alone and pretend like nothing's happening. The mature thing to do is to communicate your feelings. We don't know how he would have received this. We don't know any of that. But the mature thing would be to communicate that instead of going behind his back and doing something without his knowledge, which means that you knew it was wrong. And now you're like, I already did one thing wrong. I'm thinking about doing some more of it. Yes, you would be an even bigger asshole for that. Or really, I'm going to put you at 1 already because you know it's not the right thing and you chose to do the wrong thing anyway, but you're thinking about, like, seriously contemplating doing even more. Being there alone makes you an ask on 1. You're like, yeah, I know it's not the right thing, but I'm not done yet. So what the hell? What? This is an insecurity issue. This is the kind of thing that that I would be like, hey, those are some big feelings. Why don't you journal those? Come back the next day, reread it, and see how you feel about it. This has been lingering for a while, so maybe you would validate your own feelings there and continue on this path. But this is the kind of thing that you've got to communicate about with your partner at some point, because what happens when he opens that drawer and he's like, hey, weren't there some cards in here? Or he's not going to say anything because he doesn't want to start a thing with you, but he's going to know what happened to them. And then it's going to damage his trust and relationship with you. There's no good that can come from this. You're not going to feel better. Now you've got this little guilt gremlin that's going to follow you around because you did some sneaky shit that he doesn't know about yet. You just traded one bad feeling for another. That's it. Savage Karma, it's not okay. It's his stuff, 100%. Totally Radical says, everyone sucks here because why did he get with her if he was still hung up with an ex? Well, we don't know much about the dynamics of that relationship early on because maybe they were hanging out very casually and he's like, hey, I really need to take this slow because I'm still not over my ex. I'm still not over. I don't have... saying you're not over somebody is a little different than saying I'm still hung up on them, right? Or I just got out of a serious relationship. It could be that he said that. And he's allowed to have a past. He's allowed to have feelings. He's allowed to keep those cards. They're just dating. They don't even live together yet. But this is the kind of thing that you have to communicate about, OP, because what if you do end up moving in with him? Living with someone is where you start to learn how to communicate through tough situations, right? Let this be your first one. Now you've got to ask for forgiveness for the first shitty thing that you did and tell him what's in your mind and that little insecure demon, what it's telling you. It's telling you to take the other ones and burn them. You could stop this right now and communicate with him and apologize for doing what you already did and at least let your feelings be known so you guys as a team can decide how to move forward from this, not you as an individual. That's the only way to save this. It could just be that he had an attachment to his ex's son. There's sentimental value there because it wasn't just his ex. It was a little blended family for a bit. And you cannot pretend that shit just doesn't exist. You can't. You can't.